first, as there goes Solars again, Ryan.
Yeah, Solar's continuing to, it looks like they did get the revive on him, but Solar's continuing to kind of find issues with that initial, no matter what side he hits it on. It seems like someone from ESTRAL is there waiting. Now Solar's going to be on his last down. He's got to be careful. Praise goes down, Mental goes down. Solar's on his last down, so if he gets hit kind of full redded, he's going to likely be dropped altogether. Big fight coming in up top.
I love that collapse.
Reflame gets aggressive. Praise is there. Reflame trying to get yet another one. Praise gets the meat shield. Goes for the shot. Melee isn't going to connect. That's 5 dead. That's a full elimination. That's a 5-0 map. ESTRAL just put the hurt on them.
I'm shocked. I really am. Props to ESTRAL, but that was not at all the way that I was intending on that to go. I mean, sure, okay, ESTRAL wins game number 1. Prior to this series, you tell me that. I get it, okay.
Sure.
But not to the point where NRG literally doesn't win a single round.
Definitely a little surprising, to say the least.
I don't know. I'm not saying much.
It's first week back, you know.
It is. It is the
jitters.
first week back, but it's still nerve-wracking.
Oh,
to
no,
me
it's still,
because,
like I said, it's still weird to see.
Yeah.
It's still very weird to see.
I don't know. It's like if you're investing in the NRG stock, are you selling? No, but you're just like, gosh, like that's a rough day so far. But
to buy some ESTRAL stock.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one has absolutely seen its peak and maybe continuing on at least so far throughout that. But I know in general there isn't really much to talk about. Outside of it was just kind of ESTRAL's teamwork. You constantly called it out. It wasn't just a matter of 1v1 after 1v1. No, they were winning team fights, and there were constantly members of NRG pretty much back to back to back popping up in that kill feed. There was even one moment, I think it was in round 3, and that kind of set the pace because it was finally NRG's kind of got their foothold when it came down to a round. They had struggled a little bit before, and they were actually taking B over at train tracks. And it was just one little moment where they throw out flashes, they take Mental out of the fight, and then they engage on a 3 versus 2. Normally, NRG's thinking, hey, okay, we've got like multiple lanes. We kind of have 2 different visual points. ESTRAL was very quick to pick that up, and they managed to kind of in that moment where a lot of teams would maybe pause, they full-on rushed it. Yeah. And that's the thing that you love to see from a team who maybe have kind of gained more confidence after an event like San Diego.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. They got to be feeling on top of the world. They came into the first round, obviously won a big match over Mazer, who, again, is another one of our kind of top teams in the Gears esports scene. So not a bad little quick resume. You look at their last few maps, right? Two map wins over Mazer and then currently one over NRG. They're definitely looking like the real deal. Of course, people sort of question, can they continue on after the San Diego Major? The answer so far, again, I know it's the first kind of week back. The answer, though, still looking like yes, as they won 3 rounds off eliminations and then obviously 2 off time. So they're doing it kind of both ways, right? Doing it with coordination, doing it with aggression, doing it with slaying, doing it with teamwork every which way. So as we head into Exhibit right now, for NRG, of course, we've seen NRG have some very good Exhibit maps. We saw ESTRAL look pretty strong on Exhibit as well. So again, just like I said, I'm looking at each one of these maps sort of moving forward for NRG to see kind of where they move their identity in terms of some of these maps, right? They need to deepen that map pool to continue to be the team that they're used to being. If they have kind of the same sort of shrunken map pool, it's not going to be, especially in single elimination, it's just not a championship winning formula. So now, as we head to Exhibit, obviously Asylum, they definitely have some work to do, I would say, in the next few days of scrims.
Sure.
It's all about Exhibit now. How do they bounce back?
And I will say, too, I mean, kind of on topic with Exhibit, but even looking at Training Grounds, just as a reference, ESTRAL did take down Mazer in their round 1 game on Training Grounds. They beat them in game 3, 5 rounds to 2. So Mazer, like you talked about, a very top caliber team. This may be ESTRAL saying, you know what, hey, we're kind of good for the next 2 because we kind of got the one big one out of the way. Yep. Now, not that we can kind of sit pretty, but at the very least, let's say that we lose Exhibit, we do have Training Grounds to kind of fall on as well, depending on the way that you look at it. So maybe at least for tonight, feeling a little bit more confidence. But, hey, in your mind, obviously, like I know Taylor mentioned kind of earlier, transitioning from a multitude of different roles. We talked about coach, we talked about analyst. In your eyes, differences we need to see here from NRG. I mean, straight up 5-0, not common for these guys now coming into a map like Exhibit. What needs and what has to change?
They have to expect the aggression. It seems like every time that ESTRAL kind of got aggressive, got in their face, they look surprised by it, right? They look like on their toes. Keep in mind, this NRG team has 5 of the most skilled players in Gears, so they're usually ones that are pretty good at being aggressive as well, pretty good at putting you on your toes. So to me, I think they need to kind of expect this aggression coming in from ESTRAL, be more prepared for it. Obviously, it seemed like they were being a little individualistic, which comes comes with the fact that they haven't scrimmed in a while. I get that. But they looked a little more individualistic than we've seen. Kind of see Praise off by himself fighting over here. Mental kind of by himself fighting over there. SuMuNs kind of plays a lot more of those 1v1 spots, so him fighting alone isn't always the most uncommon thing. But to me, they got to kind of play like more of a unit because they got pretty much outslayed and outclassed on that map in every perspective.
Yeah, it just didn't look like NRG. Like, it didn't really look like the team that we're familiar with watching. But hey, like we said, possibly could be a new opportunity for them when it comes down to Exhibit. Excited to see exactly how this map plays out. Feel free, guys. Let us know on social media at UMG Gaming, at Ryan Fools, at Lando. Let us know in the chat as well your thoughts on this game number 2. Are you rooting on the LATAM boys to walk away with a 2-0 versus NRG? Or will we, in fact, see that Game 3 on training grounds? It's going to be an exciting one. It's going to be a blast. But like we said, at least in my kind of depiction of this, I think we need to see NRG come out early and instantly start to show some dominance. Because if not, that's just going to keep the train rolling here for ESTRAL, as it looks as if A, B currently in limbo. Praised, walking with a big fight on Adverse and wants to continue the aggression as well.
Yeah, he has some health, some explosive as well. Crack, kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. He's going to end up dropping. Looks like the kind of initial starting to favor NRG. Keep in mind, you see they are the Swarm team. This is their map pick, so of course, kind of a good way to shake off their map pick, get the win back onto yours. You see they're about to take the time lead back as well. They're kind of just trying to identify where this push from Estral is going to come in, which lane are they going to choose to push it. Looks like Reflame kind of stuck off by himself there, kind of quickly get out of dodge there. Meanwhile, on the other end, you kind of see Adverse in the second lane. Ooh, Crack just kind of runs right in there, meets the big old shotgun of Praise. Of course, advantage still in NRG's hands. They're continuing to just kind of wait and see where Estral makes their push.
They've done the job they needed to. Reflame. Like I said, this continued aggression from Estral not slowing down as they want to keep making NRG be put on their toes. Nice pistol shots from afar. That's going to weak Praise, at least for the moment. Still trading shots, and Estral's waiting for their opportunity. Look in that top right, the mini-map. Here comes the flash. Multiple point of views to look at. I believe that is going to be Cardia, who does take down Explosive, but the knife. Lovely work coming through from Praise, doing his own Zoro impression. Now has to worry about Crack and takes him down as well. And does not stop Praise. A lovely little triple for the folks at home. And speaking of triples, that will nearly be a triple cap. Most players falling, and there we have it. NRG, for the first time in this semifinal, get a round on the board.
Yeah, and Praise did such a good job towards that middle side of the map, right down to that B hill, just no matter which lane he was in, whether he was in the hill, outside the hill, just kind of commanded that entire area of the map. Good job by NRG kind of striking first. Again, this is their map pick.
Yeah.
We can very well see NRG answer back with a 5-0 of their own, right? You know what kind of team this is. So if you're Estral, so they're going to kind of just manage to hit the little mirror button. Both going to place that utility on the side, so you're going to see a lot of the same from this round. Still pretty long spawns. Let's go ahead and see what adjustments they decide to make on this initial. It all starts to stop at this man.
Yeah, it definitely does. Right, slow down the guy who has the most kills so far throughout the first round. I believe it was 7. And nearly making it 8 as they'll at least get the drop onto Reflame.
Oh my goodness.
What a play from Praised. Comes through with the blitz and just says, boys, watch my back. That's all that needs to be done. A one-man wrecking crew as Estral have no response for Praised.
He continued to move forward, too, hitting good shots.
He
ran him all the way back into the spawn. Woo. Reflame has a little bit of spawn shield there, I think. You're going to see Estral trying their best to fight to get this C hill back. First couple kills do come in. If you're NRG now, you kind of want to give this up. I don't think that you want to necessarily fight for this hill. You want to give up entire map until you're going to see SuMuNs begin to back off. He's still in their sights, though. Reflame tries it in with the wrap shot. SuMuNs is there waiting. Good patience coming in from SuMuNs. Still has 2 more members of Estral. I think he knows that the B hill is probably going to be uncapped for now. NRG, though, in the meantime, have still managed to build about a 60-point lead early on. So they have plenty of time to work with for a counter push.
And that's one thing you have to kind of be aware of for Estral. Obviously, a fantastic game number 1. We talked about aggression. Their team pushing was something that you mentioned NRG has to be aware of as Cardia just comes through and wipes off, wipes off everybody. And that kind of ruins my point, but I was going to say, Estral at times, at least so far throughout the first round of the half, showing maybe a little bit of their overly aggressiveness. I will say, obviously, it has its advantages and disadvantages, and that kill feed moment, obviously a positive, but still, there have been about 2 or 3 different moments where you think, hey, maybe they should have held off a little bit, maybe should have waited. But regardless, you love to see that aggression more than anything. So many rosters have struggled versus this NRG team just because of kind of getting that stage fright and not really knowing how to play against this team. But there we have it. A few players falling in that kill feed, at least a few to be dropped. Adverse trying to pick up the pieces. You see getting shot from all kinds of different point of views. Can he escape? Absolutely full red. One more bullet as he'll fall around the corner. Thankfully gets the revive off. But you notice NRG, they are pushing these boys back.
Yeah, they maintain that lead as well. They hopped on that B hill right before Estral took that lead. Saw Praise get over there and kind of steal the utility from the Estral side. So a little extra utility will be at play for NRG as well. They're continuing to kind of light up the kill feed. You're seeing SuMuNs, Mental, Adverse trying to dance around the hill. He's getting shot from every which way. He's going to drop. That's going to be 4 dead. Fiercely, the last remaining member. He's dropped as well. Full Elim comes in. Well played round by NRG, and now they're starting to cruise to the second map.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And that's what you want to see, especially if you are a supporter of this team. And that was kind of the big factor throughout a lot of that last round. So many players, so many different lines of fire. It was so difficult for them to kind of make their way out of different point of views, try to make their way to escape. They were always met with shots, and it always helps, especially when Praise starts off the way that he did. Like we said, pretty much looked like a running back, just sprinting through everybody.
Yeah, he was on fire.
We'll see if he can keep it up, too, because that is a very scary sight when you see that man Praised running straight for your dome.
Yeah, if he's confident, he's having fun, he's laughing. He's hitting shots. Again, he's a very, very accurate player. Prides himself on hitting those full spreads, right? Hitting those absolute bricks. If he's on point, it's a scary sight, especially sort of in that middle side of the map, right, where you can command so many things at once with that cover, kind of rotate around there, be annoying. Definitely someone you want to neutralize if you are Estral.
He is demanding your respect, demanding your praise. We'll see if he can keep it up yet again. Early 1v1 engagement. It actually does get taken down. Love this early 2v2 that we're witnessing as Mental not able to pick up his fallen comrade. So we talk about situations Estral maybe needs to improve upon. One of those, just trying to deal with praise. Well, at least in the early initial, they've done exactly that. Elite fights through the hallways, but this time around, it's Estral who seems to be successful.
They're starting to build a lead of their own now. A map like Exhibit 2, I mean, just the way that kind of the lanes are situated. If you start to get some numbers now, you can kind of rotate around these different lanes, hit them from the back, hit them from the front, get that team fire in towards middles. You're going to see Explosive making his way into that B hill. Teammate Mental keeping Reflame busy. Explosive didn't get that full break. Seemed kind of still dancing around. Now Reflame trying to help his teammates. He's being surrounded by 3 members of NRG. SuMuNs, Praise, lighting up the kill feed. Mental looking to add one of his own. That's going to be 3 members quickly dropped for Estral. Cardia needs to make a play. Gets one. Needs to just stay alive. But again, we talk about how you can kind of bob and weave through these different lanes. Once you get those numbers, Explosive comes in the flank, gets the down. Advantage back in NRG's hands. About 30 seconds away from reclaiming that lead. Got a dominant map so far.
Oh. Bodies hitting the floor in just quick succession, and SuMuNs is trying to catch every advantage that he can. Like I said, in the meantime, as Estral were involved in those fights, NRG quickly take back B. Well, hey, already flipped on its head again. In limbo is the B hill, as Estral will find that one themselves.
Yeah, take a look at the respawn economy real quick. You see Crack on his very last life. You see Reflame down to just 1 respawn. On the other side, you see NRG, everyone over at least 2. So respawn economy definitely favoring NRG. Estral need to make sure if they're going to finish one of these rounds, they're going to do it quickly. They cannot afford to have someone like Crack, especially, who's been so influential for this team. Going out early, just at this top level, you cannot win with one of those, permanent 4v5 situations. Crack's being kind of careful. Gets 1, looking to get 2. He's going to be dropped. So now Estral, 4v5 for the rest of the round. Need to hold on. They have a good-sized lead. They can hold on for about 35 more seconds. Cardi gets 1. Trying to hold on. You're going to see NRG quickly making that move. You can see despite NRG having 2 hills, COG team will still win in 20 seconds. They need to hold down that last and final hill. If you're NRG, you're basically just trying to kind of get at least the break. Flashes come in. Here comes the push. Lancer fire. Is it going to be enough? NRG is starting to move forward. Again, a break would be huge. Kills start to come in. NRG gets the break at 2:49. They all 5 go down. It's going to be enough at the absolute buzzer. They do it.
Wow.
Estral needed to hold it down for 1 more second. But in the end, NRG does what they do best. They steal the round away from the jaws of life extend their lead now to a 3-0. We can see back-to-back 5-0s right now.
We absolutely could. Wow, that was excellent play coming through from NRG. As you mentioned it, at the 2:49 mark was ESTRAL. They just could not hold on for long enough, and that is just picture-perfect play and strategy coming through from the NRG boys. I'll be honest, kind of taking a look at that mini-map, it looked like they had a pretty decent setup, a lot of different layers, but NRG manages to break their way through, and they grab a very influential third round. Of course, their third straight, and their only 3 of this series. Keeping in mind, if you're just joining us, it was ESTRAL who did, in fact, take game number 1 on Asylum 5-0. That's 5-0 for the Brits. That's a very solid scoreline, and one that we were pretty worried about with NRG. It's fair to say here on Exhibit, they're back in their home ground and fighting just to kind of keep their lives up. It looks as if Mental, unfortunately, has to head back to camp with one less squad mate. But in the meantime, that hill still yet to be grabbed. ESTRAL, the first one to pretty much have their feet inside. And Mental, despite kind of losing his squad mate, still is on that contest.
There's an explosive once again, kind of getting that first down, sort of being the tip of the spear in that push. You mentioned earlier how good he is at slaying alongside being this team's in-game leader. Plays like that obviously helps so much. You're seeing Cardi kind of waiting for Mental. Mental knows exactly where he is. Now it's NRG with control of B. SuMuNs taking out Crack. That's his last down. That's going to put Crack out of yet another round. So difficult to come back when you're down in respawn economy. If Reflame goes down too, it'll be even a permanent 3v5. If you look over the right side of your screen, NRG, 3 respawns, 4, 2, 3, 2. They got plenty of respawn economy to work with. And now ESTRAL stuck with 3 members for the rest of the round. They're going to start with trying to at least defend the C hill, but just when you're down by this many respawns, Landon, the more they just can keep spawning up and throwing them at you, spawning up, throwing at you, eventually just kind of grinds you down. And look at even just the time lead, right? They're not even getting, they're just not capping a hill again.
I think, and this is just a personal opinion, we could say this kind of progresses over time. For me, ever since we see the change up as NRG comes through and takes down another 2, but for me, I think that the third round of a game pretty much, or the third round, if a team is already 2-0 up, I think instantly becomes a swing round based off of life count. Because if you lose the first 2, obviously you're going to be lower in that life bank in comparison to your team, or rather to the opposition. But in the midst of that third round, you're kind of coming into things with so many different losses that, hey, you kind of have to bank on one particular team fight going your way. Because if not, you instantly kind of get put into this blender or these multiple type of positions where you're just not fit enough to stay alive or to push things aggressively enough. It kind of just ruins your mentality. And so, at least for me, every time that we see a team go 2-0 up, unless we see a dramatic change from the opposition, it almost seems as if it's just going to happen to the point where you're going to see a guaranteed 3 or 4-0, just because the lives, it's as you called it, it's so difficult. They had 2 guys there at the end who just can't stay up. They're literally off the map.
Yeah, I mean, just especially the way obviously these initials work too on a map like Exhibit. There's just you can't not get in the fight, right? You have to get in the fight. So if you're one of those players in that fight with low respawns, and again with high level, you're going to be a lot of trades, a lot of back and forth. Again, you just get kind of grinded down by that respawn economy. And as we start the first round of the second half, it looks like NRG is kind of continuing on forward with what they've been doing all map long. Numbers advantage currently in their favor. Reflame forced to back off, getting from all angles. NRG on the aggression. They are not stopping. These are long spawns, right? They want to finish this round right here, right now. Looks like on the other end, someone from ESTRAL snuck over towards the NRG home hill. It's going to be, what, number 7? It's going to be Solar's there to fight for that hill. Fears are going to kind of back off, just accept the break. Have to see him in the map a little longer. Will it be enough? You're going to see Cardia hop over. He's being met by the Lancer of Praise. Obviously one of the most accurate Lancers we've ever seen. And at that shot, he gets flanked, but here come the trades. NRG doing a great job of trading out these downs. Explosive going to get dropped. Reflame's there. And Reflame gets 2. But now he's being met by 3. Can he do it again? He has some help. It's a good opportunity now for ESTRAL. That's going to be 4 dead. Solar's the last alive. Now they get to move forward. They get to try to kind of finish this round on these long spawns by TripCap. They decide to back off. Rats take the score lead. Kind of going back and forth, right? Teams kind of winning that side, counter pushing, winning that side, counter pushing. Now it's ESTRAL holding the 2-cap.
You talk about in-game leadership. How about slang leadership right there? Lovely stuff coming through from Reflame. Is that maybe the spark that ESTRAL needs just to maybe reinvigorate themselves It's like we've talked about, this has been a very dominant game so far from NRG. They have pretty much had, what, one close round that came down to a 249, but despite it, it's been pretty much them all the way through. Estral currently with the advantage, but here comes NRG yet again. Take a look toward that top right. See those red arrows pretty much progressively starting to make their way in. As unfortunately, it will be Praised who does fall first, but they're going to be looking for a trade and a break here soon.
Yeah, trying to cross that 200-point mark. You do not want to give up a lead like this. Two of their members go down. NRG on the offensive late. SuMuNs stuck between two members. Somehow isn't killed. Finally is going to drop. Now NRG kind of makes the decision, right? Do they want to move forward? Do they want to try to finish this here? Crack hasn't gotten back into the game just yet. Explosive tries to get on that hill. It's unfortunately down next to a bed of fire. Raising at the trade. It's going to be all 5 down for NRG. ESTRAL finally stops the bleeding. Stop us from getting back-to-back 5-0s, but man, they got their work cut out for them if they're going to try to take this map away from NRG.
But I think it kind of came down to Reflame's play for the most part. I think for a majority of it, it really was pretty much his presence that made the overall difference. He kind of comes through, takes down 3, and then from there, you see ESTRAL, they hold on to that mid-hill, and then it was kind of NRG never really being able to kind of pick up the pieces. I will say that 1 2v1 got a little bit scary, maybe even if I think it was Explosive is able to toss out that Incendiary just a little bit early. Maybe that turns it into a 1v1. Maybe it's anybody's game. But even still yet, ESTRAL had that slaying just enough to give them the overall weight advantage, to give them that peak when it came down to the scale. But here we go. They're going to need much more of that if they want to make this one even somewhat close, as NRG still sitting on map point, mind you. Not series. Still have to visit that third one over on training grounds if NRG can at least find one more. Even still yet, Adver's the first one to try to break on through. He'll pretty much just try to get somewhat well acquainted with that mid-hill. Obviously a typical position for Explosive as he'll toss out the Incinerary. Unfortunately, he will drop. Along with that, Reflame takes down Explosive. That's going to be, what, 2, 3 down. Already off the break for NRG. And maybe another one as SuMuNs, though, turns the tide back. That was a huge play coming in from him. And near domination as well. A lot of things happening in the early stages of this game. Pretty much point to bring up ESTRAL. Hot start. SuMuNs, though, huge plays to keep things even.
He doesn't make that play. That round's probably over right there. You saw them kind of just get right over there, and SuMuNs, I think one of them had to reload, try to get the melee out, but SuMuNs gets the big double kill, keeps his team alive, and that's what makes this NRG team so tough sometimes. They have those players that make those plays that continue to kind of keep them in each and every round. It's like ESTRAL did a pretty good job, though, of continuing to keep the numbers, right? They're starting to build a lead. As they kind of cross the 100-point mark, you see obviously they do win in about 65 seconds at this pace. Again, they just need to be smart. You can't allow a team like NRG to get those picks, right? The second they get that pick, the second they make a 5v4, they want to make it a 5v3. They want to make that a 4v2. They want to continue to kind of push those numbers. So as long as you keep them at bay, you'll be in a good spot. It looks like ESTRAL's doing just that in this round.
B currently in limbo. NRG trying to push their way in. Praise trying to set up some sort of a pinch. Crack still alive. Not for long, though, as there goes 2. Crack and Reflame. Cardia maybe getting a similar feat as Praise has to watch this one, but only for a time. The revive does manage to get off. Fiercely actually takes down Cardia in the meantime. And that is just a big blunder for ESTRAL as they can't win that fight, and nothing really going their way whatsoever, as that will give control back to NRG as they'll hold on to D&E now.
And we just talk about how you can't get picked, you can't give up numbers, you have to just kind of keep them at bay, and then boom, 4 dead. Right, just one of those things. Luckily for them, they built such a good lead so far. You see they still do win at this current pace, but it's going to be close. I'm pretty sure that basically at the point that ESTRAL would hit 250, NRG would be somewhere in like the 240, 249 mark. So ESTRAL has very little margin for error. We saw in a past round, right, the NRG got that last second break at the 249 mark. You do not want that to happen a second time, and it looks like that's the game they're choosing to play right now. They're looking to kind of put their eggs in that final basket. NRG just needs one single break unless someone can kind of make a hero sneak play. That final fight's going to be huge. need to get a little bit aggressive too. You can't let the fight happen on the hill. You need to hold it for about 10 more seconds. The kills start to come in. I think we know how this one ends, Landon. Is it going to end the same way? The break comes in at 248. 5 dead. I've seen this play before.
I think
and that's going to end the map.
It will indeed. That was a fantastic way to close things out yet again for NRG. Pretty much 2 different situations of which they come through and close things out right before the buzzer. And, of course, praised MVP of this game finishes off with 30 eliminations. Pretty much from the start was the main man to look out for. Of course, he'll be filling out a decent amount of our highlights. But I love in that last moment, we're talking about the last round in particular, round number 6, and I think it was NRG who pretty much does a fantastic job at realizing, saying, hey, we're getting these guys that are starting to scramble. They're starting to run around a little bit, maybe kind of get a little bit scared, if you will, because they're aware of what's going to happen. And even despite being in the disadvantageous position, make it look as if they're in the advantageous position by looking for the first pick, because I think it was someone who was on kind of top stairs, does damage to Reflame. Reflame then backs up. He's looked upon as the first guy to have to engage, and you just see the movement. It just wasn't there. The communication was probably a little bit fluky, and so despite NRG literally being the ones who are knocking on the door, it was the people who were inside who managed to open it for them. And so that's why I think was so influential there for NRG, is despite being in what was a awkward position, they play their advantages perfectly and managed to break through, in which they probably shouldn't, twice out of the 5 rounds that they win.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that. Let's say that ESTRAL closes out those 2 rounds at the 249 mark. That makes them have a 3-3, right? Those things change a lot, but that's what this NRG team does, right? That's what they've done in Gears 4. So they do in Gears 5, right? They take away those rounds that they're not always supposed to lose, right? They take away rounds from the jaws of defeat, and now we saw a dominant map from ESTRAL, map number 1, a dominant map from NRG in map number 2. Now we head to training grounds. Again, we've seen this ESTRAL team just today take out Mazer on training grounds, right? We've seen this NRG team in the past beat the likes of Reciprocity on training grounds. Both of these teams definitely have good reps on this map. It's going to be about who takes it to move to the grand finals.
Yeah, this is a big one. And like we said, we talked about map count. I mean, this is a very kind of interesting map set that we've had so far. A 5-0 from ESTRAL. NRG then responds back 5-1. My mentality is kind of all over the place, because
coin flip now, right?
It really is. I can't even speak, because it's just like NRG, we're thinking, hey, okay, is this something to be worried about? And I'm like, oh no, it's totally fine. But hey, that third map still yet to occur, keeping in mind that we actually have got to watch ESTRAL on this map previously. They did take down Mazer in round number 1, and they actually did take this game 5 rounds to 2 in that game 3. So like we said, this is a map that maybe they feel a little bit more comfortable on. We'll have to see, though, exactly how this one does play out. Guys, in the meantime, feel free to let us know who you think will be walking away with this series, as we will be visiting game number 3 on training grounds between NRG and ESTRAL right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the UMG studio here for the Emergence Days Invitational Week number 5, Season 2, as we're about to hop into Game 3 of our semifinal. A lot of terminology to throw at you. Regardless, though, we're going to do our best to break it down. But, of course, myself, Lando Sanders, joined in part by Ryan Fools Summers. Like we said, buddy, in the midst of a very interesting series, one that has, by definition, gone back and forth between NRG and the boys on ESTRAL. ESTRAL take game number 1. 5-0. NRG then respond back. Most recently on Exhibit, they win that one 5-1. And now we're kind of up in the air a little bit when it comes down to maybe not necessarily predictions, but just where our mentality is at for both of these teams, because we're thinking, NRG post San Diego, obviously ESTRAL off a high, they finished second. A lot of little kind of additives coming into this one, and a lot of momentum maybe for NRG as well, considering that they did perform poorly when it came down to event. Their worst placement in pretty much a majority of that team's history. Now, kind of their response when it comes down to this tournament so far, a little bit scary. So, or rather, up to this point, but we'll see how they fare off when it comes down to this final map.
Yeah, and it's just like I said, we start off the series and it's 5-0 ESTRAL. Everyone's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah,
like that's not what we're used to. And then again, they kind of answer back with a nice 5-1 of their own. And now, like I said, as we head towards training grounds, we don't really know what to think right now. Of course, this is kind of the first week back for a lot of these pro teams after the holiday break. But even still, both these teams looked absolutely dominant on their own map pick. We did talk about the fact that NRG's map pool didn't look as strong as they would have liked it to be, obviously, at the event. I know that's one of the things they're going to focus on. Is this the time, right? Is Training Grounds going to be one of those maps that they are strong on? Is going to be kind of one of the ones they need to kind of go back to the drawing board on? We've seen ESTRAL just today look pretty strong on it. Now let's kind of see how they fare against what is still one of the Titans. I don't care if they got top 8. This is still one of the Titans.
Yeah, no question about it, despite it could be maybe a short stint of struggles. Does not mean that NRG is out of it as of yet. That's without question. But still, we'll see how the series begins to play out. We're flying in here for our third map of this series. Winner advances to the grand finals to face off against the winner of Reciprocity and Fire and Ice. That game has officially started, and we'll be providing you guys some coverage of that one once this series comes to a close. But at least off the rip, NRG losing 2 members on the other side for ESTRAL, and it's going to be Cardia who falls. So a 2v1 exchange, ESTRAL with the advantage, which is someone indicated as, never mind, SuMuNs decides to go and change the entire tide of it and take down 1 enemy. So that's going to be A and B for NRG off the rip.
Yeah, ESTRAL definitely started off strong. NRG beginning to kind of answer back. Kills traded left and right. NRG with a slight time lead. ESTRAL kind of looking to erase that. They haven't got a hold of B just yet. SuMuNs actually going to hop right back onto the B hill. As NRG begins to kind of light the kill feed up once again. Mental getting some down. SuMuNs getting adverse. ESTRAL doing their best to kind of answer back. SuMuNs finally gets dropped. SuMuNs kind of, in my opinion, lived a little too long there if I'm an ESTRAL fan. But back and forth we go. B hill now in the hands of the Swarm team. Ooh, he gets that last second down. Great pistol use by Explosive. Got to use a shotgun here. Has some nice team fire coming in to be praised. Gets that down across the map. And here we have NRG right back on the offensive. They give it the B hill for just a little while. It is back in their hands. Explosive got to continue to move forward after getting that break.
And that's the way this map can play sometimes. I mean, you kind of look at the overall map's design and you see maybe how it's a little bit bigger. So whenever these fights do or kind of exchange back and forth, when maybe one particular player gets wiped off, it's not instantly, hey, we have an entire group who's going to be here to kind of have this big team fight. It's a majority of the time going to be last-second engagements where one player falls. Okay, now this team has control of the hill. Now this roster has control of the hill. It's not an easy jaunt over to B by any means. So with that being the case, it can be somewhat understandable that this hill absolutely can start to go back and forth from time to time, as indicated here. ESTRAL, I think, for maybe the second or third time, regained control over B. Keeping in mind, NRG with the current point advantage.
Look at the setup ESTRAL has about the 75-yard line, just drilling into the NRG home side. You're going to see on the other side of the map, though, Explosive and Solar is starting to pick up kills of their own. ESTRAL is doing such a good job on that top side of the map, but NRG's been kind of the ones to control this bottom side, and the bottom side is where the hill is found, and Crack tries to jump right into Mental's shot. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Billy Goat goes and cleans up those kills, and it looked like the round was in ESTRAL's control, but just like that, starting to be kind of flipped on its head in favor of NRG. You're going to see a fight coming in, SuMuNs versus Reflame. The A-Hill has been capped. SuMuNs going to get the better of him there. His teammate is there for the cap. Every single hill back in control of NRG. ESTRAL Looked like they were doing all the right things, but in the end, it was NRG who won the most important fight at the most important time, and they strike first.
And for me, it kind of comes down to the very end, right? We have a neck-and-neck game based off of time. It was still going to be ESTRAL, a.k.a. the Swarm, who was going to win off of that round. And who makes the play? It's Mental. Mental makes his way through. He rushes in and pretty much comes on the flank at B, takes down 2 players, and then the entire round is pretty much on its head. As ESTRAL, they lose map control. They pretty much allow for one lane to be exposed. For me, I feel like that has to be the play, and that was also a huge blunder from ESTRAL because based on the players who were at B, they were not expecting Mental to instantly be pretty much flanking them and taking shots in their back. So I think that for me was kind of the moment where it was somewhat decided. NRG was going to walk away with the first. And we'll see if that can be a mock-up of things to come or if ESTRAL can quickly start to have things go back in their favor. Is literally off the start, B and C going to NRG. As ESTRAL quickly on the back foot, Crack taking some solid shots to the face as they'll lose Cardia in the meantime. He was actually over at B, so...
Yeah, and if NRG can start to control this side of the map, it's going to be a lot of trouble for ESTRAL. We saw kind of in the last round, ESTRAL continuing to kind of win this side of the map, but losing the side over towards B. If NRG is firing on both sides of the map, that is going to spell trouble for the Swarm team. We see them start to answer back. They did take out Explosive. Prey's going to be dropped as well. Mental, he's not careful, going to be dropped as well. Does turn around and get the very nice down, so at least a trade before being dropped. So despite a good early initial by NRG, ESTRAL has answered back, but for how long? Members of both teams getting dropped over by B. You're going to see Fiercely up in that kind of overlook spot, trying to identify where the members of NRG are coming off spawn. You kind of see him turning his camera to where you can see both lanes. ESTRAL's taking back the B hill. I think Explosive knows that if he gets over there, that area is going to spell a lot of trouble. There's a lot of members of ESTRAL there waiting. Just kind of get some information right now, trying to figure out exactly where the members of ESTRAL are set up, determine where their push is going to be.
See that 3v1 at the top.
Yeah, it looks like based on that minimap, yeah, 1, 3, and 4 towards that top side. Maybe they're looking for an OE. You're going to see 4 heading up towards the A hill. Fiercely is there. Nice first shot, but Explosive has help. Here comes the help from ESTRAL. Is it going to be enough, though? No, it looks like NRG are going to win this fight, at least for now. Crack stuck in a 1v2 situation for his home hill. Mental. Crack looked like he had the upper hand in that fight. Mental held his shot as he does best. Got that kill. Now all 3 hills beginning to be changed. ESTRAL without a hill to their name at the moment. You're going to see Advers and SuMuNs fighting. Really, that is the NRG home hill they're fighting for. Advers trying his best to just give his team some time, keep them in this. But will it be enough?
Advers trying to stay alive, tossing out the flash. Can he get the engagement? Yes, he does. Unfortunately, he'll fall just after that. So trade advantage going the way of NRG, keeping in mind that near domination is a lot of hills currently in limbo. C going back the way of NRG as Fiercely will finally clear out over at B. So
looks like that play from Advers then actually had some pretty good impact, right? Yeah. Kind of held them over towards the NRG home hill.
Oh, my goodness.
And Mental.
Sheesh.
Yeah, you're going to see, look at the left side of your screen, all 4 members of NRG decided they conserve their respawn. Keep in mind, this is only the 2nd round, so if you're someone like Praise, you don't want to spawn back in and be on 0 this early. Cut your losses, keep your respawns intact before things get out of hand, because, again, in this new escalation, especially with the new changes, you hate to get low on respawns early. Just such a kind of an uphill climb. It's so hard to win your rounds so definitively.
One thing I want to point out was, and I know that obviously NRG does lose that last round, but one thing that I really liked about their play, it kind of came in from the core 3, right? We talk about Explosive, Mental, SuMuNs. One thing that I noticed was that when they were kind of in the midst of making that double home hill setup, what they did was they in sequence started to reveal themselves. So while there were 3 players there in a 3v2 engagement, one man made his way through while the others did not even make a peep. So in that situation, ESTRAL instantly was caught off guard because they think, oh, it's just going to be a one-man push. Then when in reality, NRG starts to reveal their layers over time. So that's what I love about that last push from NRG, despite it not working out to the absolute best, was that it was their ability to be on the rotations and their ability as well to reveal themselves almost at different times to distract the gunfire away from ESTRAL, because they were constantly getting hit with new waves of players, and I think that involves a lot of communication that ESTRAL has to have in moments like that. Thankfully, they were able to pretty much weather the storm and hold on to lock up this round, but those are just little plays that happen throughout a majority of these rounds, and it really is just a matter of how you handle them, because NRG is going to be hitting you with all kinds of different pitches throughout this game.
And here comes, look at Fiercely on the flank right now towards this topside fight. It looks like NRG is there waiting for him. Crack still alive over that overlook, but for how long? He's kind of caught in the open. NRG makes him pay, so yet another initial on this top side, looking towards the side of NRG. But on the other end, it looks like ESTRAL has taken control of the B hill, so even at times, if you win this fight, if you're not winning the neutral hill, it can become for nothing. We're going to see if NRG decides to do a little bit of what they did last round, win this side of the fight, and then head over towards the opposite home. We've seen them trying to edge over that way. They're going to just kind of ignore B altogether. Here comes Mental, throws that piece of utility. ESTRAL, they're there a little quicker this time, but NRG, once again, is there waiting. Big team by coming in. Mental trying his best not to be exposed by multiple Lancers. He's going to identify advers. Shots are going to be traded back and forth. Mental bouncing around, trying to stay free. He's going to finally be dropped. Numbers advantage starting to move towards NRG. Advers going to trade it out. 3v3 situation right now on the map. ESTRAL trying to hold down the C hill, trying not to give their opponent this 2-cap. They have about a 45-point lead already. They want to make sure they continue to hold this, but SuMuNs has something to say about it as he takes out Crack, and NRG starts to decap B.
Lot sequence, SuMuNs taking down a few, even coming through with the pistol. Fiercely, though, however, on the flank. Dropping SuMuNs. Here comes the flash. A little bit disoriented, but not enough to really distract him from the moment at hand, as Crack takes down Praised. And now we start to reset ourselves. After the dust begins to settle, it will be ESTRAL currently with the overall point advantage, however, not the hill advantage. And in sequence of that, things could start to change. Solar's 3 enemies around him, unfortunately can only drop 1, as ESTRAL invest a lot toward this middle side, and so far it's worked. However, here comes SuMuNs, who takes down 2. Crack and Advers, with a little bit of support from his squad mate Explosive, do the damage necessary to take back B. And that is what you love to see. However, the fights, they're only continuing to manifest, as on the other side, Mental and Co., they begin to fall. My word. NRG, ESTRAL exchanging blows. We're nearly at a tie scoreline. But here comes ESTRAL. They're not going down just yet here, Ryan.
Yeah, if you're ESTRAL, you got to be careful with some of these back and forths right now, because if you look at the right side of your screen, Landon, they have 3 players on 0 respawns. 1 about to make that a 4th if Fiercely decides to spawn back in. So ESTRAL, they really need to win this round. Otherwise, those respawns will be all for nothing. Woo! It looks like NRG trying their best. Mental, I believe, actually got the chunk. That SuMuNs, I'm sorry, got the kill. They end up getting the break. ESTRAL not going to be able to do it. You see the amount of respawns they used in this round, Landon. 4 of their players stuck onto 0. NRG managed to win a very bloody, hard-fought round. I tweeted earlier, I was like, you know what? The teams haven't played for a while. A lot of these pro teams just getting back. There's going to be some sloppy, bloody matches, bloody rounds. And that was one of them right there. That was just an absolute brawl. No matter what hill was on, the home hill, the B hill, that was just insane. And again, ESTRAL put so many resources into that round. So to put all those respawns at bay and then not win the round, those are tough, because now NRG's in a good position to kind of take the half 3-1.
And obviously, if you're kind of in that same coaching role for ESTRAL, because in this situation, what do you tell them? Because it's almost as if their aggressiveness is their best strong suit, and that's one thing that you want to have is confidence versus a team like NRG. So in this situation, are you telling them, hey, guys, let's slow it down? Or how do you kind of manage what is a strong suit that kind of has to be toned down a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that's tough, because you never want to stop kind of playing your team's identity. I hate the play your game thing.
Sure, right.
You never want to kind of stop playing your play style, playing what's shown you success in the past as a team. You don't want to kind of, for the sake of a matchup, switch up what makes your team great. So to me, it's not necessarily that they need to stop being aggressive, right? I would say to be a little smarter of where you apply your aggression, right? Maybe because, hey, maybe we shouldn't just all barrel into this spot. Maybe we should move toward, instead of going towards the bottom side of that initial, hey, let's push towards the top side, overlook side. Let's make that our aggression.
Sure.
See how that play kind of fares versus the other side.
See how it plays out. ESTRAL, a lot of things to juggle, all things considered. So a lot of players not seeing the best when it comes down to respawns. Keeping in mind, Praise from the other side, struggling for NRG. So if he falls yet again, he'll be out for this round. As Solar's explosive, everybody putting up some solid plays. As there we have it. It looks as if it will be Solar's pushing through. Actually has the opportunity to maybe take down Reflame. Going for the body stack. NRG nearly at full domination. ESTRAL, can they make anything happen in time? Can anybody get there? It looks as if it will be a little bit of a deny for now, as A will in fact be grabbed. But
Praise is out.
Praise in that fight actually ended up getting taken down, so that's a big moment. Keeping in mind, ESTRAL, look at how many players on their side are only up to 1 life left.
Cracks out too. So permanent 4v4 on the map right now. You're going to see ESTRAL controlling those numbers, but it's NRG controlling the scoreboard. Explosive, once he spawns back in, he's going to be on his last life. That's tough. If there's one player you want on the map for this NRG team, it is their in-game leader, it is their captain, and of course one of their slayers as well in Explosive. On the other end though, if you're ESTRAL, you have to be delicate. You have 3 different players who can be taken off the map right now. You basically have to put Adverse towards the front of whatever push you're going to make, because you're down about 60 points. They have the 2-cap. Adverse is going to go down. He was the player that had the respawns. Solar's going to get killed fiercely. That's going to take him out now. Current 4v3 situation for the rest of the map for NRG. Things are looking good. Reflame going to flash himself. And you hear ESTRAL. You want to find Explosive. You want to try to even out these numbers best you can. Good shots by Reflame. Can he finish him up? Misses the reaction shot off of a beautiful first shot. And now he's going to be taken out. 4 members down. Cardi, all that remains. NRG, again, very few ways they can lose this one.
Yeah, not a whole lot, that's for sure. As NRG slowly but surely hold on to A. Cardia waving the white flag as he will fall, and that will be NRG locking up this particular round and pretty much the half. And a solid performance here. Like we said, 3 rounds to 1 as they controlled the in-game pretty well. And this is the thing that we talked about, was ESTRAL, it pretty much came down to the life bank. When it came down to life count, the struggle off the rip causes so many different problems for teams. And this was kind of the same issue that we talked about in Asylum and Exhibit. Game 1, Game 2, NRG, they go down 3-0. That's when they start to struggle with life count. ESTRAL, they go down 2-0, 3-0 on map 2. They start to struggle. And actually at 2-1, when you think ESTRAL maybe should be a little bit kind of more clear, they're starting to already struggle with life count. So this is going to be a big deal to kind of be looking out for as time does progress in this series, is how players are valuing their life, because that has been the definition of what has decided a majority of our rounds here in this series.
Yeah, and a big initial coming in from ESTRAL. You can manage to find SuMuNs. These are long spawns. It's a good opportunity. Looks like they're going to drop him. That should be a full elim. He should probably get this kill versus the animation, but let's see if those few seconds are going to cost him. Supposed to be at 1. He's going to be dropped. Solar's and Mental, the last alive. They're going to drop as well. Mental gets that flash, get hit by an absolute brick by Crack. He's going to go nowhere. Trip Cap comes in.
Well, hey, at least if you're going to, emote.
At least emote and win.
You back it up, in that situation. However, overall game, I'm sure if ESTRAL ends up losing this series, I think that NRG are going to remember that one for a little while. That may even be a little bit of a Twitter conversation in the future. I don't know. But that's just the way that it seems to go, especially in Gears esports. Hey, there are grudges. Grudges indeed.
Yeah, especially in our game, people don't forget. I'll tell you that much. We like to trash talk for fun as it is, so when things get serious,
never forget,
and never forget.
Never forget,
never forget.
Yep. Shout out to Ian Porter. Good old Crimson. I love that meme. I'll be honest with you. That is one of the best things of all
absolutely.
time. It's great. But hey, back in the game, NRG already halfway up the mountain. ESTRAL, hey, just pulling up the rear, but we'll see exactly what they maybe have in stores. Flash is already out of the game, especially due to the swapping of hills. E going to be a prime target for everybody. Yeah, it's Mental tossing in a few shots here.
Yeah, it's a big swing round right now. Of course, we're on the tiebreaker. This 3-2, obviously huge mental difference between that 3-3 and a 4-2. For NRG, you want to force that 4-2, right? You want to put your foot on the throat. Meanwhile, ESTRAL fighting to kind of equalize the scoreline. Praise and Mental watching over that neutral hill, starting to be surrounded. Players go down from NRG. Mental's going to be the last alive. They can get this last kill. That will almost be a full wipe. Solars is going to be off spawn. It's going to be Estral, though, winning yet another initial over that east side. They look so strong on that side of the map against Mazer, against NRG, whoever it may be. They look pretty strong on that side of the map. Now with the neutral hill being over there, that could favor them a little bit towards the second half. Again, looking to equalize the score. Here comes NRG again, pushing around. Once again, giving up the neutral hill, making that kind of round-the-world push. Estral seem to be kind of waiting, seem to be a little more prepared than they were in the past. Big fight coming in. Solars chasing Advers into the spawn, not going to succeed. Now let's kind of see what NRG chooses to do. Let's see if they're going to put their respawns into this round. Try to kind of cut their losses. We saw what a bad respawn economy could do for Estral in the first half. It pretty much crippled them towards the second half of the first half. Catch my drift there. Looks like they're choosing to invest. So I'm going to see Solar, SuMuNs, Explosive, and Praise all sitting on 2 respawns. I would like to think now if you're NRG and you kind of lose these respawns one more time, you're not going to spawn back in, right? You're not going to waste them. It's a big opportunity for Estral now to kind of tie this back up with a good hold.
Well, however, at the same time, we have seen Estral in the clutch moments lose rounds. I'm talking about Exhibit more specifically. Here comes the push from NRG. Like we said, the most influential. Flashes out, Crack not in a position to at least fire off the rip. Now has the ability to. Most enemies out. And NRG has made their way in. Here come the flashes once more. NRG has done the work, at least off the rip. Praise takes another one down, and this is when the cards start to fold. There goes Cardia. NRG, they're on the run here, Ryan.
But someone from Estral has snuck over towards the NRG home hill. That's going to force NRG to have to turn around in one way or another. I just don't think there's enough they could do to get to each hill in time. Beautiful play coming in from Estral at a time where things were looking dire, right? It looked like that same song and dance we saw a couple times on Exhibit that we've seen a million times from this team where they kind of steal the round away.
That's my favorite song.
Big play coming in, though, from Estral. Now sitting at a 3-3. And look at Fiersley, 30 eliminations. Fiersley, a player that doesn't get highlighted a lot on this team, had a massive, massive event at San Diego. Looking to continue playing well heading into this Mexico City event now. 3-3, tiebreaker. Everything's on the line right now. Looks like Estral, from what I could see, I think was up in the respawn economy a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was, at least a few players from NRG were around.
They're all
like
2-2-2, yeah. And again, we figured that if they died, they wouldn't spawn back in. So they'll still probably be up in the 3 range. You're going to see, interesting enough, double utility on one side, and then the utility Boltok on the other. You heard me probably talking to Taylor about how I love me some Boltok.
I do too, man.
Thing can be
especially
deadly.
the right hands, yeah, absolutely. You can do all the work you need. As we'll see this fight break through yet again, 4v4 over here at E. Utility grab for either side as multiple flashes, all kinds of utility. As nobody actually can see anymore. It actually just happens to be that way. You get to flash so many times, it just, your eyes just start to get ruined. However, here come the flames. How about that? Crack. Cardia actually ends up finding 2 due to that perfectly placed Incen. And now they have all the confidence to push this one out. There goes Solars, and also SuMuNs could be on the way. Mental doing everything he can to watch over his teammate. However, he just watches him splash into lots of different pieces. That's going to be a solid push from Estral, and lovely placed utility from them to hold on and grab this early E-Hill.
It's another multi-kill coming in from Cardia with the Incens. We've been seeing him make huge plays with those grenades throughout the course of this tournament. Yet another initial one by Estral over towards this east side of the map. We saw them do pretty well early on as in the first half, but again, without the hill being there, it's just not quite as impactful. Now with that neutral hill being there, when they can win those fights, they're going to get a good chunk of points because of it. Well, I'm looking for this Boltok right now. Good job of double flashing him. That Boltok, now when you get that initial damage in, can be so, so deadly. Ooh. He's almost pop-shotting it like it's a shotgun.
Be careful not to hit your own teammates as well. As Praise runs right into the blender. Lovely stuff from Advers. As that will be NRG on the struggle bus a little bit. Rather explosive, has to use the body shield. And that Boltok, while it doesn't land, at least has a little bit of teammate support to clean it up in the end. So back and forth we go. Estral do grab back E. Keep in mind they don't have their home hill, so they will have to at some point reference back, grab that. Looks as if that will be one member doing the work. However, player number 3.
Yeah, it's like SuMuNs versus Fiercely over towards that hillside. You're going to see Fiercely get hit by a brick. SuMuNs, it's a beautiful second spread. Making the plays that keep his team involved. Again, this NRG team so skilled individually. They make so many just individual plays at times that keep their team alive. Numbers trying to favor them as well. You see them taking down Crack in the process. Currently a 4v5 on the map. Trying to use that and capitalize on those numbers as fast as they can. Here, Ashley, you do not want to give this round up. You've done so much work up until this point. You have the respawn economy on your side. You see Explosive, Praise, and Solars all down to 1 apiece. Meanwhile, a lot of members of ESTRAL.
Wow.
And Solar somehow, with a flash on his foot, doesn't get stunned. Managed to live through that flash and get 2 kills out of it. Very unfortunate if you are ESTRAL.
Gosh, he's doing so much damage, but still managing to stay alive. There's actually somebody at the flank. Here comes the pinch, Ryan. Here comes the pinch. They've got 2 players coming in from the opposite end. Fiercely makes slight work of SuMuNs. Explosive still here. They're trying to play all their advantages that they can. Instantly getting on that cover. Scoreline currently tied as E sits in limbo, but it will be ESTRAL with a minor advantage. They have like maybe a half a tick. Keep in mind, Hill's starting to rotate. NRG grabbing back at D. And look at this from Solars and Mental. They combine for a few. Cardia taking down double meat shields from either side. Who's going to walk away with it? This could be it. Cardia actually gets knifed. It's Mental who manages to do it. And all things considered, the rest of the NRG members spawn up. They go for their opposite home hill, and they will walk away with this round at the very latest of stages, as that was the one, if you're ESTRAL, you feel like you had to have, and they couldn't lock it up, Ryan.
That was heartbreaking for ESTRAL. Everything was in the palm of their hands, and they let it slip again. They're still in this map, of course, but those are the ones that start to shift momentum, right? If you're NRG, you're getting hyped, you're excited. You just, once again, we talked about them, how they pull those things away out of the jaw of light. That's a perfect example right there. Mental made such a big play over towards that neutral hill. And now NRG find themselves on map and match point now. Keep in mind, this is to go to the grand finals. How does ESTRAL bounce back? We've seen them be clutch time and time again in San Diego. Can they bring that same intensity here and bring this to a 9th and final round? Big initial coming up.
Definitely is. ESTRAL, they've been looking solid kind of in these early moments. We'll see if they can keep it up. However, Explosive, the first one to draw blood, and you see ESTRAL pretty much just topple over each other to try to exit first, as they're not confident whatsoever in how that first push began to break through, and this is a very scary collapse. ESTRAL, they lose 3 members off the rip and have nothing to answer for it. Keeping in mind, life count, not really too much of a factor for anybody but Praised, who happens to be on the NRG side, if you're not familiar. But still, even yet, NRG, they push their way through, and like I said, they're currently in the driver's seat so far throughout this round.
Yeah, they got to kind of use these picks. See, they get that drop on the Solars. Use those picks, use those numbers, start to advance forward. Don't let this round slip away from you. You see the confidence coming in from NRG in the beginning of that initial. I mean, they just, you see, especially it was Explosive, kind of tip of the spear in that fight. Got in there, got aggressive, got that first blood. Reflame gets caught slipping there. Got to expect those NRG lances that you kind of know where they are. You have the marks. Big fight up top. Fiercely hits some nice shots. SuMuNs, despite being full red, hits 2 beautiful spreads on each of these players. Has the team fire. NRG, when it matters most, are coming through huge. Adverse tries to get a kill. It's not going to be enough. NRG looking to kind of still continue to kind of farm out these players. You're going to see now Crack sitting at 1 respawn. Fiercely now at 0. Praise at 0 himself. Solars at 1. NRG continuing to just build this lead, right? They don't want to go ahead and risk their life for nothing. They have the control. They have the advantages. That's just going to have to make a big play. Their win condition is pretty much turned into elimination or trip cap.
Got a great crossfire set up. Cardia had the opportunity just a little bit late. When it came down to the shots, here's the team fight. Lovely first shot as there goes another one. SuMuNs takes down Cardia, has the opportunity to drop Reflame as well. It is all about the clutch plays. SuMuNs letting them know, and maybe even posing for the fans at home. Take a picture to last longer. What a sequence. Mental, SuMuNs, so many different sequences, but NRG, they lock this one up and get the final laugh SuMuNs in proper pose will say goodnight to ESTRAL and say, hey,
and I want to show you this. If
we weren't gone for very long.
If Cardia just goes wide here, you pick up a routine 3v1 and everything's over, but instead SuMuNs absolutely world stars all 3 members for the hill and for the win. What a play coming in from the unsung hero in SuMuNs, not missing a single shot.
4 for 4.
And then with the cleanup, everything you want to see if you're a fan of NRG. And as we're used to seeing in many other tournaments, Emergence Days in particular, they find themselves booked with a ticket to the grand finals. We will not get a rematch of our San Diego final